Okay, so it seems that there's been a little bit of a situation going on in the Genshin Impact community. Now, obviously, this has been something that's been going on for a little while now, the SAG-AFTRA strikes, and pretty much what it means is a lot of the voice actors have been going on strike due to some things to do with wages, and also the main thing, AI. Now, they want a lot of kind of protection against AI because AI is a very, very rising thing, especially over in like gameplay and stuff like that, and to do with voices, because again, a lot of companies are training a lot of AI models to pretty much replace a lot of the, expensive voice actors that take place, although these companies can actually afford them and they should be able to, and they should, actually hire a lot of these people. I feel like, this is something that is, slowly happening over time. And obviously, Hoyoverse is a big, big kind of contender for this. And, well, it seems like, obviously with the Natlan quest and everything like that, everyone was muted. Well, not everyone was muted, but a lot of people were muted and there was no kind of voice lines from them due to this strike. And one of them was Kinich. Now, this is the voice actor of Kinich that actually put out a post the other day. It's got 1.8 million views. It says, "Hey everyone, I've been playing the latest 5.5 update in Genshin Impact, and I'm hearing Kinich speak for the first time in 6 months. It's not my voice. I've been recast. I've been withholding voiceover services during the SAG-AFTRA interactive strike because Hoyo couldn't offer AI protection in any form of a SAG interim agreement. They keep my character's dialogue silent for months. All the while, I had made the difficult decision to continue not going in until an interim agreement was signed, and this ultimately was why I was recast. Now, obviously, a recast is not what I wanted. I had hoped for any kind of progress behind the scenes would be made, and I could actually come back safely, or that if recast auditions went out, my colleagues wouldn't read for them. Unfortunately, I was wrong. I absolutely adored playing Kinich. Genshin was my comfort game during the early parts of the pandemic, and it was a dream of mine to book a playable character. At the time, I didn't have an agent, I didn't live in LA or had any kind of connections that would get me close, but 4 years later, I did it. And the messages I've received from how you're saying, the performance of Kinich made my heart swell. I would and can return if Hoyo invites me back and signs an interim. I stand by my choices regardless of the outcome. Also, the strike is still ongoing. Please don't believe the disinformation on the internet. Thank you for everything. Which obviously, it sucks. Hoyoverse is, pretty much firing some of these voice actors that aren't, voicing. Now, obviously, yeah, in their kind of, in Hoyoverse's eyes, it's kind of a thing where they're like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? You're not working for us. So we've got to find a new voice actor. But it does suck because, again, all they need to do is sign this interim agreement and then, they can go back to work and they can actually get working. It's much easier than a lot of people think to actually just sign this agreement. And it's, it's entirely Hoyoverse's fault for this kind of stuff happening and why a lot of these voice actors are leaving, which is, horrible. Now, there's been a lot of kind of reaction from some of the voice actors, including Zach Aguilar, who is the voice of Aether, who just said, wow. So again, a lot of people are kind of angry at him because obviously people are saying he's not saying enough and he's cosplaying IRL his character by not pretty much saying like 2 lines, which again is crazy. And wow, maybe he should have said a little bit more. I feel like, actually speaking on this issue would be a good thing for him, but wow, it's just like, okay, you're kind of trying to be a little bit defensive here so you don't lose like a ton of your jobs to do with this, which again, I think it's kind of crazy. But some other voice actors have definitely been going down in the deep end whenever it comes to this kind of stuff, including Paimon's voice actor. This is Paimon's voice actor here, saying there's a huge difference when you take the role of an actor who is striking for AI protections. You are no castmate of mine, which is crazy. Now, obviously, who is this person? Well, it's Jacob Takanashi. This is a guy living in Japan, and pretty much, yeah, they've signed him. He's not part of a union or anything like that. Obviously, he lives in a different country, so it doesn't really apply to him as much. And he's accepted the job for Kinich and is the new voice actor for Kinich. Now, obviously, he says, I'm honored to join the English cast and taking up Kinich. Taking up the mantle of the Malapo is a privilege. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to carry the flame from the previous flame bearer, John, who did an incredible job. Those are big shoes to fill, and I promise I'll give it to you my all out of respect. I said thank you to Diana for the amazing direction and stuff like that, which again, this guy has gone ahead and actually taken this job, and some people are happy for him, and some people are not so happy for him. Obviously, with Paimon's voice actor saying this wasn't a passing of the torch. Now, obviously, it does, this guy did take a job which pretty much was, the person got fired by Hoyoverse for being on strike. And then, this person's just gone ahead and taken it, which does feel terrible. I feel like, I do understand that. But at the same time, I feel like I don't know why there's so much hatred towards him from a lot of like other voice actors, especially whenever voice actors know how hard it is to get these big jobs. You know, if that was me, I would take that job every single day. You know, to voice Kinnich in Genshin Impact. I don't know how big he is already. Maybe he's already big. Maybe that adds a little bit of a factor. But if I was a smaller voice actor and I wanted to, you know, they're like, you want to voice in Genshin Impact? I'll be like, hell yeah. You know, I need some money. And the same goes for this Paimon voice actor as well, which again feels kind of crazy to me because she also, you know, someone puts in the comments here saying, if you're in Hoyo's shoes, would you leave a character muted for multiple months waiting for a strike? Or would you wait for it multiple years to end? They say I would sign the SAG agreement, so all of my actors can have AI protections, and then they would come back right away to my voice, which again is crazy. But also she actually mentioned something else, which I saved here. Here we go. It says, no, you're technically right. I'm technically scabbing. So this whole time when Paimon's voice actor's like, you're no voice actor of mine. You're not my friend. You're not my, you're not my coworker. He's still working, you know, and obviously she says here that, you know, she still works the role. She's a disabled person and this job puts food on her table, as I actually record this role year round, but I didn't take this role from another person. So what you're telling me is that you're still voice acting. You're pretty much, you know, not participating in the strike at all. And you're still going so heavily after this person. I totally get all of the other voice actors, you know, being like, hey, screw you, man, like what the hell, like I'm out here, you know, striking and you're just here taking the jobs. That's totally fine. But this person, she's still, you know, recording. She's fine. She's taking money, recording things, you know. It's a normal day in the office for her, whereas all these other people are striking and she seems to be the most angry one at this person and most angry one at this voice actor. And, you know, you can say, you know, oh, I need this job because of disabled stuff and everything like that, which is totally fair enough. You know, everyone needs money, everyone needs jobs. But what's to say that this guy doesn't need the money too? This guy, I don't know who this guy is. I've never really seen him about. But who's to say that maybe he's not disabled? Who's to say that he's got a family? Like, I'm pretty sure if you go over to his page, you know, I think it says, yeah, father and husband. So what's to say that he needs money to put food on the table for him and his kids and his wife or whoever? You know, what's to say, you know, he needs this job to make money? You know, everyone needs a job to make money. And, you know, obviously you're saying you need money to, you know, put food on the table and to actually afford a lot of the bills and stuff that goes on. But, you know, what's to say that he doesn't have, you know, needs as well? And I feel like it is a little bit kind of just weird in general that, you know, this person is going after so heavily. Like, I could be like, okay, you know, maybe, you know, I feel like, you know, putting out maybe a statement saying, I feel like this isn't the right choice or whatever, but going so heavily after them, especially when you're still taking money from Hoyoverse, when you're still working for them actively, it's just like, okay. Let's be real here. Like, if it was someone like, I don't know, so like another voice actor who is also like, there's been a ton of voice actors going on about this, by the way. It's not just Paimon. It's also a ton of other people who have been, you know, kind of saying, you're not my like co-worker or whatever. Which again, I totally get because these people are actually striking. But from this kind of viewpoint, I'm just like, okay, bro. Let's just chill out a little bit here. Obviously, you know, they keep going and say, is striking, I had this role and I'm stuck in it because I have no other way to pay for my medical bills. But yes, technically I am a scab and you're right. I don't deserve any praise right now. I don't deserve any of it. And I deserve to be told off just like this actor. So please do. So again, it's just like very weird because all of these voice actors, right? Do we see this with any other game? Like, come on, let's be real. You think about any other game, any popular game at the moment, are there any voice actors bitching like this over on Twitter? No. No. They stay silent, they just keep doing their strike or not doing their strike, depending on what they're doing, and they just keep going. Whereas you got people like this, who just keep making different kind of, like, twisted things, being like, oh, I hate you because you're taking money from Hoyoverse and you're scabbing, and he's like, oh, but I'm also a scab. And it's just like, oh my god, bro. Like, it's kind of hypocritical, you know? Because, you know, she's calling this person a scab, but then saying, oh, I'm also a scab. Honestly, it just blows my mind that that's the thing. Obviously, I do hope that a lot of the voice actors, in terms of the AI and everything like that, do get their protections, because again, it is terrible that they are trying to replace them. And I've talked about many times how Hoyoverse are trying to improve their AI systems rapidly so that they can do that. But, you know, obviously they do need those protections. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, to be honest. And a lot of this just makes a lot of the voice actors seem very childish to me. like over on Twitter, places like that. I get, you know, it's very angry that this person took the job, but there's no reason to go like attack him on Twitter. Like, come on, just like stay silent. You know, just don't say anything about it, and just keep moving on with your strike. Keep going, and you know that's all you need to do for the strike. But no, these people want to go on Twitter. They want to argue people. They want to do all of this stuff, which just, you know, that's not very professional, is it? You know, these are professional, you know, voice actors. I'm just like, come on, guys. Come on. But yeah, I do, you know, obviously it is terrible that this Kenichi voice actor did get fired in the first place. And yeah, hopefully, you know, some of this issue does get fixed, because again, it is mainly Hoyoverse's fault. If you want to, you know, pin the blame on anyone, don't blame it on this guy. Blame it on Hoyoverse. Hoyoverse is the main one that you want to be, you know, kind of targeting, but they don't want to do that because obviously, you know, if Paimon goes after Hoyoverse, you know, obviously they do kind of go after them slightly, saying, you know, hey, we need a kind of agreement. But if they went after, you know, if the voice actor went after Hoyoverse, oh, well, oh, I might lose my job. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, see ya.